I was utterly perplexed on what could be expected when I booted up a stream of The Walking Dead final season to my audience of TCLR subscribers, shitting myself in pure terror pre-stream. My pre-game defecation was rendered moot, however, as suffice to say I felt a little something come out the tip watching my chat's performance. Those engaged in my unorthodox playthrough of The Walking Dead Season 4 on crack had the misfortune of witnessing firsthand the defiled mental state of what running on Monster Energy at 2 AM does to a motherfucker. With the difficulty of staying alive matching that of holding back a torrential downpour while someone thoroughly tickles my cockhole in conjunction with watching Ben Shapiro's sister engage in the NFL Combine.
If they start rounding up the Jews again, I hope Ben gets gassed first.
Compounded with every death resulting in a failed save, leaving me to fear I had accidentally installed a Todd Howard brainchild.
All of this just works.
And without video game journalist difficulty being an option, I was out of luck with my goose cooked by Quay at this point, leaving me more shocked than the Grand Wizard of the KKK experiencing 4K for the first time. With that being said, after the first 3 seasons of The Walking Dead, I got one more in me, so let's go smoke some crack off the best character in the entire series' ass, and play The Walking Dead Season 4 on crack. When the dead started walking, I had a tea party in my treehouse. I was 8 years old, fuck you expect me to do? Until a deity named Lee decided to take me under his wing. Lee helped other NPCs as well. After Doug's goatsy technique failed to kerfuffle the walkers, Lee ordained him to death, and so it was. Lily was jealous of her secondary place in Lee's harem, and killed Carly for monopoly over the famed Lee log. Lee said he'd rather give a wood chipper anal than see Lily again. He eventually decided this mortal realm lacked his standards in urbanness and left this primordial plane. TCLR's cheeks were being parted like Moses did the Red Sea in the comments when he didn't shoot Lee, almost as much as when he claimed weed wasn't sticky.
What world is weed sticky? It's not even fucking sticky.
So he enlisted Lee's urban powers to rewind time and kill him to satiate the critics. We don't talk about Season 2.
Whatever it was, it got you good.
But we got Carver Jr., so that's nice. Jane decided infanticide was a worthy trade-off to teach me a lesson. The lesson being Kenny was sick and deranged for getting mad that Jane murdered an infant. How Telltale thought anyone would side with her, I'll never know, because with my lethargy to the situation and Clem currently enthralled by an iPad playing Cocomelon in front of her, we forgot to shoot. AJ was alive and knowing what they'd done, assuredly attributed to Jane now identifying as transgender post-mortem since they couldn't possibly imply Kenny somehow being just as guilty of leaving an infant in a blizzard as Jane. Then, I proceeded to let the new frontier cook, and remarkably,
Someone cooked here.
making up for the dog shit that was Season 2 with a return to urban form. I would regale you with my search for AJ, but that's a flashback later in the game, so just know I reacquired the child, and now I try to fill a fraction of the TCLR subscriber schlong-sized shoes Lee left. I'm all AJ has, and he's all I have. And as I wet myself from that line, I notice this water looks like a bloater. Pinned comment, by the way. We passed by an Amaranth subscriber who heard she got off on this road last week to tinkle, as this hat looks like it came up to Jada Smith like. Clementine, still 17 by the way, livestream was thirsty enough as is, finds AJ prepping for the ultimate Russian roulette technique. This little shit believing he's grown fails to detect the sarcasm in my voice, asking if I'd like a quick death. His stomach registers a 6 on the Richter scale and he claims he's hungry. Hungry for knowledge, now catch up on your reading, Huey Freeman. The book only strengthens his resolve for sustenance, to which I provide with some toy broccoli, but he can't stand the microplastics as I'm forced to give him the last of our actual reserves. We arrive at a train station, and knowing the last one had one of my boys, we decide to investigate. As we leave the car that the high school bully had in every 80s movie, I equip AJ with a knife, and with no constable showing up to inspect my paperwork, I can conclude from that we still reside in the US of A. As I embark on my quest, I need to gear up, determining another toy legume is instrumental to helping us defeat the Walker threat before grabbing the canteen and crowbar for backup should my vegetable flail fail. My previous British fears were dismissed rather quickly as we see a bell where the writer says he'll tear me a new asshole in my face if I don't ring it before approaching.
What does it mean?
It means our current location is currently the southern United States. I find a walk Walker and hit him with the only thing Jane was good for as AJ culturally appropriates a Slav.
Still here. No bites.
I would hope not, unless the Walkers have developed detachable jaws. Less time would be wasted had an MMO fan walked out of their den and informed me.
Still here.
No pussy.
Hey, Lee, you know how to pick a lock, right?
No. Why would you say that?
Well, you're, urban?
It seems they've added Shift Q to their repertoire, Telltale on the cutting edge of gameplay as always. After that taxing task of pressing 2 buttons, I decided to test AJ on what to do when hitting a lick and leave no
witnesses.
Won't have to adhere to that rule today. Romeo and Juliet tied their hands together and decided to commit the YouTube demonetizer with rat poison. How much rat poison do you need to demonetize yourself? It's like the fact 300,000 bananas will kill you. Well, that's fantastic. I'll let Kirby know the informative news. I have 2 options. Let AJ risk his life by going through the window, or disrespecting the dead's wishes and kill them before swiping their— well, they ain't dead yet. I make quick work despite the second activating the Sharingan mid-stab and expeditiously walk into the room with AJ wanting a new home, despite the fact this would at best go for $50 million in New York. The products are inedible, as unfortunately we weren't quick enough to stop Shrek from sexually satisfying himself on every object in the room.
Fuck.
You must have lost your goddamn mind!
You said it, kiddo.
Shit, fuck.
Bro's literally me the day after I got my 360. The can rolls and we discover a trap door. Now, while it may seem like we're about to meet the Skeever King again, there's actually immense supplies untouched by Shrek's fart furry fetish Rule 34 porn. Believe me, we'll get to that later. Regrettably, the Taliban seems to have used this as a hideout from US airstrikes, and the explosion came armed with an alarm that repeatedly states Rob DeSantis' base, attracting every Twitter user to our location, and we're forced to move. We get to the car, but a walker wants to tell us the perks of getting shell shock in Iraq for 6 months, countering with the fact I already have a shitty car before somehow starting said car without a key. I get to play in first person, which spooks me as I almost waste another 30 minutes of my life as we get rolling into a goddamn tree as Clem provides an ironclad case for Saudi lawmakers, climbing through the car, grabbing the key as she continues to fuel the stereotype of women and driving. How the hell is that going to fix the engine? After a brazen attack on physics and the laws of nature, seriously, someone explain to me how the car didn't make the IRA stand in allegiance right there. As I continue to shit myself in pure terror since Clem is still behind the wheel, the army recruiter comes back. AJ, shoot! After being unable to feed him perk 30s in time, I pass out. One memeable intro later, I awaken all patched up and worried the army recruiters have forced me into a barracks in northern Syria. They're not asking anymore, it seems. Hydrogen peroxide. Excellent. Just in case I need to demonetize myself, a superior option to driving a 2015 Toyota Camry. I grab the strap-on Thanos used when discussing balance after massacring everyone Gamora's ever known and force open the door, hiding after AJ made in a sweatshop in Bangladesh comes through, foiling their plans of attempting to sub in another while taking the superior option for themselves. Batman arrives, and knowing the danger my shins are in if he finds out I took an illegal turn when escaping the train station, I cooperate, acting like a regular law-abiding civilian.
What's wrong with your face, baby? Yikes!
You were in pretty rough shape when we found you.
As is your haircut.
Yikes!
No way you walked out the barber shop thinking that shit looked immaculate. The American in every Japanese game informs me that Ten, the kid I scarred for life, was the one tasked with my recovery as Marlon asks if I know how to handle myself. Nah, I just got lucky with surviving all this time. Omar, best character in the series, dare I say, is carrying lumber wood while Vi just got done listening to a deep, thought-provoking song on how parents just don't get the struggles she has to face in middle school. We hear the misfortunate news that the car is totaled, so we're kinda stuck here with kids who just walk up and stare at you, awaiting the prime opportunity to pop the question.
You got games on your phone?
Bro could track herd movements better than any satellite dish can. The man who single-handedly caused the mullet rate in America to decline to historic lows is in charge of all the other kids at this school, so it's safe to assume they've been isolated since the entire Walker fiasco started. Erickson's boarding school for troubled youth. Fuck, one of you's a serial killer, aren't you? He welcomes me before I quickly disappoint him, proclaiming I've never stabbed my mom before, as Marlon is forced to deal with the Walker threat. I go looking for AJ as the bane of all food reserves introduced herself, telling me that AJ tried to give her a taste of her own medicine and bit her. I calm the situation down by addressing her by all her perceived pronouns, fee, fi, fo, and fum. Bitch will wipe up any edible mess single-handedly, cutting into Mr. Clean's profit shares. I arrive and inform the perpetrator to reform, else I intoxicate myself with the belt on again. Jaden Smith, I'm your biggest fan. Jaden with dreads briefs me on Huey's true motives, which prove to be quite sinister as he threatens him about sneak-ups again, on gang. Dude's got the epitome of school schlumper drip, putting the Columbine guys out of business. Enough game to crash the industry like Atari roast from their slumber, although the hospitality seems to be quite lacking. But he's shocked when I give AJ the 10mm and Dorfschmeckled, realizing the previous threat was backed with a mighty bite. After the perks, of course. Of course, I'm fairly certain Jaden is anti-guns in real life, so at least the writers did the research. Unlike... Oh god, if you didn't think this was bad, let's go live to someone who just accomplished the gargantuan task of reading the first chapter. There were 3 people. Dude wastes no time putting his training from Demon Riz Academy to good use, as even my panties were drenched while playing this before he tutors AJ on the technique of performing a banger tune on the piano. Marlon arrives and concludes Hawkeye isn't enough, calling on the rest of the Avengers as we take our Urbanators and go to work. We have to save a hunting party pinned on the outskirts as Violet blames me for breaking their nirvana. One more word and I take away your black eyeliner, young lady. She seems fairly disrespectful, but Jaden has enough charisma for the both of them. The fact he wields a chair leg to battle is evidence of that. A chair leg he knows how to use. Bro might as well be packing heat with those maneuvers. Of course, Clem is not one to be outdone as we obtain undeniable proof Home Alone and its sequel are collectibles located in the academy. We meet back up with the hunting party as Violet gets on to telling me her spiel about it not being a phase and a devil worshipper is who she truly is. Sim, too busy complaining about how he's sick of the cleanup, gets jumped by a walker begging for help as he needs to be saved by me, sitting there in abject horror as I flex my mastery. The walker is forced onto the ground and being under 3 feet tall, activates this pit bull's toddler sense as he immediately performs his God-given duty and feasts. He almost jumps me, but in combination of my standing tall like a bear attacked and Marlon confirming my age is over the age of 3 is enough to calm its predator instincts. Sim, after acting like a pussy, in front of the bitches, oh god, somebody put him on suicide watch, tries to play it off, reaching the bargaining stage of grief in record time. He attempts to relieve the attention on his self, explaining to Marlon that the safe zone must be expanded else we recreate the potato famine, getting into an argument and he gets sunned. Again, in front of them. Jaden hands out post-mission grades after this Bayonetta level as I get myself another achievement. I arrive back and AJ terminates his bloodline right then and there. His kid's about to turn up to the special ed class like a direct deposit right from the womb with that hit. Being a teenage boy, I call him a bitch as he's forced to tough it out in front of the opposite sex and tells me to control my kid. Bro even forgot his name after dropping his ass. That's absolutely freezing cold. We deduce the optimal strategy is to work our way up to apologizing as I let AJ know our situation is critical at this conjuncture, and our only option is to suck them off profusely or we get kicked out of not just the crazy school, but in all likelihood life in general. Mitch is acting cool and disrespectful as I'm fairly certain his heart is about to explode from his chest seeing a semi-attractive girl his age who doesn't talk about space constellations for the first time with AJ performing the wingman role admirably, giving him the opportunity he needs to flex, claiming this little magic trick is somehow able to fuck up some monsters. How? Exactly. I don't know, maybe it's a scare tactic like, or this next trick, I will make my boyfriend disappear. I'm pregnant. Send the bell! A 6-year-old swearing is sufficient to convince them to side with AJ. Omar is cooking as this man proves himself lethal with a kebab stick. Best character in the game. Normally a kebab would go $5.99, but for you, my friend, $4.99. The man is doing God's work. AJ then apologizes to Rosie, of whom he mistook for a Snickers bar mere moments ago, as she graciously accepts said apology, even calling him sugar. I get to a Sim who seems to be chronicling his wizardry failures as AJ swipes the diary and purses through until a Sim implores him to give it back. Keep reading, AJ.
Saved my life. I F-worded up and looked like a fool.
I knew it. I arrived to Violet in 10 as I apologized to the man wielding a cum birthmark for almost ruining the other half of his face as we learn his lore. After getting branded by the Nickelodeon logo when he was 3, he lost his 2 sisters just last year after a hunting accident gone wrong, but not gone sexual, so it wasn't a YouTube video at least. But this deep and intricate backstory is more than enough to satiate AJ, who seems to have made himself a friend. We're introduced to Brody, informing me that she's an ally before putting her hand up and saying she stands with us. AJ must have seen me putting the skills in at the back of the Walmart the other day. What can I say? Crack is expensive and Neil hasn't exactly de-Susanified yet. As he gets down on his knees and begs Marlon to not kick us out for his contraceptive acts, to which Marlon thankfully agrees. We all gather around the communal diner and prepare to dive right into the biological waste Omar just synthesized, but AJ does not care for his mortal health. If his body was a temple, it would be of some run-down religion centuries ago that would take archaeologists millennia just to excavate.
You wanna know how I got these scars?
Rosie seems disgusted, not at AJ, but at the fact that the food looks like it's stuck to the bowl somehow, and excuses herself from this toxic blizzard from Dairy Queen slop, leaving the 3 others that matter to play some cards. It's the game of war, and whoever wins gets to ask me a question, to which I am contractually obligated to answer with the highest of accuracies. AJ finally finds a friend and decides to remark on how he obtained these scars, meaning Telltale is about to get raunchy. Violet wins and uses her incredible deductive skills to find out me and AJ are not related because he is black and I am not. Hold on, what's this? Clem is black? On stream when I was told that, believing it to be misinformation of the highest caliber, and as I got to proving my mental superiority on stream...
It's a nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is...
Go! Okay, even I'm not brave enough to finish that joke. Yeah, apparently she's canonically half black, half Asian, even though it looks like she slid out the uterus with 800 as a credit score.
Whose goddamn white baby is that?
This is your baby, okay? He's just light-skinned.
That one might be mine. That one right there. I'm not totally sure. Just because you name him Darren don't mean he belonged to Darren. But I don't care what this baby's name is. This baby is rice-skinned, but not light-skinned. That is a white child. That is Caucasian from the mountains of Caucasus.
I suppose that must mean the milkman was white. I win and am able to ask the next question. What are your opinions on minorities? Everyone should be allowed the modicum of respect and human decencies as is outlined in the Bill of Rights. Quite right, my dear anorexic friend. We are, after all, of the species Homo sapiens, and petty quabbles like this are detrimental to human development and pursuit of knowledge. Jaden secures an admirable victory and shows why AJ had to be withdrawn from the conversation in its entirety, with Violet enraged at him shooting his shot, evidently from the parking lot at Staples Center. I decide to tell them about the Nick/Ben who had redeeming qualities, even though we all know the average TCLR subscriber Javi was the real catch. Marlon inquires on who used to take care of me before responding with the chosen one, he who does not need life, the one who urbans, all of which immediately sends shivers down everybody's spines, blows the prostates of every living being, including the walkers outside.
Grossest thing you've ever eaten. It's pretty easy. Horse eyeballs.
Slugs.
I broke my ribs to suck my own dick one time.
I ate a guy's leg once.
What?
What? I succeeded in that test of speed. Fuck you mean you ate a guy's leg once?
Out of the 4 of us, who do you think is gonna die first?
If I didn't play this game before, easy money's on Jaden. He proceeds to ask me where my dad is in retaliation, ending this game as I take AJ and leave with Jaden's Riz meter reaching critically low levels. If his Riz meter was the Celsius scale, he'd make Antarctica seem like Calabasas. Marlon comes and wants to reiterate he can't be racist because he's got a black best friend before showing me where we can slumber for the night. AJ detects art supplies and...
What's an artist?
Someone who got bamboozled out of 200 grand to become an art teacher. Violet arrives and says she needs something from the closet. Well, considering my chat's composition, make yourself nice and comfy. I'm fairly certain you're not coming out of there in this video. She wants the art supplies from AJ, which belong to Sophie. Yeah, fuck them kids, bro. You finish drawing your little Joker paint on and I'll be taking that, unless you want me to tell Batman you jaywalked. Violet's infuriated I stood where she stood as Sophie was Picasso with Minerva as Michael Jackson on the floor. It seems despite the possible conservative conservative leaning of my stream, Violet still might escape the clutches of the closet after all, and we learn how the scouting party suffered a 50% casualty rate in their final mission outside the safe zone. After their successful LARP of Halo Reach, there was a perceived lack of bitches, making Violet sick of the sausage fest, claiming she's just happy to have another dual-wielding X-chromosome companion as our bond grows closer.
Not exactly like a people person.
Ain't no way. I'll slap my scrotum and call it volleyball. You had me fooled. That attire and demeanor screams my conversations of the word count of a first grader's essay. I lie to her cause the stream is picking the ship and the results are inconclusive as of now, with AJ showing off his paint. Okay, well, better keep this dude away from the Weimar Republic because no way you're making it as an artist. Contrary to AJ's belief, this painting would only reduce the value of our property, and my persistent bullying of the 6-year-old sends Fraud Ross into a temper tantrum. I confirm EDP has been known to roam underneath bedsides, convincing him to sleep on the mattress as we log off for the night and begin the next day anew. Our recruitment results are coming in today as I tell AJ not to do anything stupid. 10 is playing with his plastic toys and...
That one's a policeman. She's gonna save the day. These were the people who protected us.
After finding out they died, AJ gives 10 an L plus ratio plus smoking on that public services pack, that's on gang, plus you got symbiote on your face. Enraging 10 as I force Huey Freeman to apologize. After a picture of Marlon and Lewis solving races,
What the dog doing?
Thankfully, Marlon intervenes, letting Rosie know I'm not foreign that Rosie doesn't bite. I tell Rosie to piss off before I raise my arm another 15 degrees and get this video banned in Germany as she complies. Setting up on that suspiciously toddler-sized bed, assuredly setting up Hunt in the natural habitat of her prey. When the walker sprouted up, the headmaster and entire staff dipped post-haste, and honestly, I can't blame him. My ass would be doing the Naruto run the second I heard about flesh-eating zombies. He requests to indoctrinate us into his cult, to which we graciously accept after learning they are not signatories of the Geneva Protocols as I get my first mission to go out on a hunting party. He gives me the rundown on the sacred texts, with the greenhouse being severely overrun and abandoned even though it provided a consistent supply of food. Unless you got Poison Ivy in there trying to concoct a dildo to compete with the least well-endowed TCLR subscriber, I fail to see how that abandonment's a brilliant idea. He gives me the choice to fish with Violet or hunt with Lewis, a critical decision that will determine the outcome of the game. It's a telltale game, I'll just ask chat. And after an I'm not racist, see I even high-five black kids media stunt, you see someone on a presidential ticket due to dispel the rumors, we get going. A sim will accompany us to give a crippling debuff, helping to counterbalance Clem's urbanness. Lewis claims he watched the Ninja Turtles, confirming it was the 2003 series, immediately getting infused with every urban power imaginable. A sim makes the attempt to get his standing up and tells Lewis Marlon's already got enough on his plate trying to prevent his first dog from mauling the other children, but Jaden Smith's charisma goes into overdrive, a character that would make anybody question their sexuality. A walker appears to be caught in our rabbit trap, and me and Lewis see if any candy pops out, but it turns out to be that intro scene from We Happy Few, quickly making my way to a sim before I get called a dowdy, which, well, thinking back, that could have potentially been interpreted as a slur against Down syndrome if it came out today. We get a baby rabbit as the writers really outplayed themselves, with both sides being equally retarded. Release it or eat it. The only two choices. Why not keep it and have them breed for a consistent food source? So I decide to snap its neck to show AJ what it takes to be a stepper. Being a telltale game, we arrive at the shack anyways to find it ransacked with somebody quite literally smoking the Jesus pack on gang. Brody and Violet arrive, affirming that funky smell is because they were hunting and not scissoring, as we determine all our food stores have been wiped out. You put your food stores in this storage shack miles away from your home base instead of your main camp. Because why? With the frying of her and my last brain cell, Brody loses it and reverts back to a COD Black Ops 1 squeaker on the mic when he goes 0-40, and as Cartman says,
"Screw you guys, I'm going home."
As AJ correctly rectifies Jaden Smith on his incorrect statement, as his veganism may have ventured into unhealthy territory right there. I enlighten them on the train station that hopefully still has enough food, even though a frag grenade exploded at point-blank range, but it is our only hope as of now. We arrive as I let them know one misclick and I have to restart the entire episode, and with stakes at its highest, we determine Lewis capable of taking the cowbell and Alistar emoting on top of the train car while we sneak through. He throws out some some heat, ridiculing the walkers to the point I'm half expecting the Golden Gate Bridge to be locked down due to an uptick in cannonballing as we get inside. See the two walkers who will become vital in episode 5 and begin filling our packs. Unfortunately, we have company. Hold on. Hair loss, lost teeth, neck beard, fucked up eyes. It's a heroin addict. After he evidently just got done snorting jet fuel, he confirms he's here to rob me. I can't take that against my honor, good sir, draw your sword. And it's not because he looks like he said it's hero time and transformed into a Ben 10 alien, but because I'd rather get my ass beat by Eugenia Cooney in the boxing ring in front of an international audience than dare to disrespect Crack Nation by losing a one-on-one to a heroin abuser. AJ acquits the gang of crack admirably as I take that opportunity to attack said heroin Untermenschen, or whatever the Germans call people who weren't German, who gets bit while shoving him into a pit of walkers. You see this? With all the noise he's making, more are bound to show up, right? Remember this. We quickly make our escape, floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Walkers can't catch me because I can't read. I don't think I got that right. We arrive back to a distraught Brody attempting to convince Marlon that despite her name and masculine features, she isn't rocking a chody, but he isn't convinced. We come back with enough food to last a fortnight, being hailed as heroes, with Mitch making an incredibly astute observation. Omar couldn't be included because he's violently masturbating to the cooking he can now do with all these supplies at his disposal, of course, and even more goodness would just ruin the scene anyways from pure euphoria. Brody sticks to the point that we went outside the safe zone and met a heroin addict, and with her blood pressure reaching critical mass, I calm her down before her arteries explode, informing the passing of the heroin addict.
Attacked him? What the fuck?
Marlon attempts to break it up before he gets cut up in another DV case, with Brody acting like I killed her mom until her and Marlon go to the basement, evidently blackmailing him into sexual intercourse. Everyone is too freaked out to play today, so we watch as Ten cooks up a masterpiece, proving himself Picasso with the tool, and draws a fairly good rendition of me and AJ. After correcting me in that capitalism has no place in our great Uviatubian hail comrade Neil, AJ tries to act nice and tough, scouring the premises, ensuring mine and his safety.
Can I stay up?
You must have lost your goddamn mind.
AJ enjoys it here, although he hasn't enjoyed learning from our cookbook in the car, it seems, and after reflecting on our time at Turnabout Ranch and the evil Dr. Phil, we go through the proper technique when running up on ops and go to sleep. I wake up hours later to sounds coming out of the pipes and tell AJ to stay in bed, hoping the It monster stops its hunt before the age of 17 and eventually find the source coming from the cellar.
Hey, Lee, you know how to pick a lock.
I sneak up on the lovebirds, whipping out my schmeat in the process until I hear they've already speed ran their redneck relationship and reached the DV arc. Unfortunately, the clap from my dummy-thick TCLR subscriber-induced ass cheeks alerted them to my presence, foiling my predatory plans. Unfortunately, suffering from success is indeed a thing as Brody gets to cooking, and cook she did, with a 3-course meal of how the heroin addict was part of a group who took the twins, 10 sisters, and that they did not in fact die from a walker attack as they've previously claimed. Everything starts to make sense now, from Brody freaking out from earlier, Marlon freaking out that Brody was freaking out. As the plot thickens, the sauce gets spicier, the tea gets even more scalding, the pineapple buffed semen even sweeter as all the pieces fall into place, making sense of why past the safe zone is Mordor to these guys. Holy shit, DV. Ah, she's fine, she'll just walk it up.
God damn it, help!
Fuck you mean help? You might as well enlist Carlos's help at this point for all the good that's gonna do.
Whatever it was, it got you good.
There's a first aid kit down here somewhere, right?
First aid kit?
Man, what the fuck is you talking about? What the fuck was that?
Brody, before dying, has mustered up just enough energy to say the only reason Marlon let us stay is because he'll offer us up to the ops if they come a-knocking again. Marlon takes this opportunity to go for a double kill and locks me into the cellar with Brody, who's 5 minutes away from turning into the personification of the virus that'll get this video demonetized. It's COVID, I don't even give a fuck. In this horror section, which would be scary if I didn't know that I'd only have to repeatedly tap Q when the jump scare occur. Never mind, it's the right arrow key.
Daring today, aren't we?
I use a ruler to now repeatedly tap Q, but Clem is about as good at lockpicking as Dylan Brooks is at basketball and fumbles before I have to kill Brody and get out to see AJ swinging around. That motherfucking thing, having thankfully consumed the perks this time around. Marlon lies about Brody until I show up.
My death was greatly exaggerated.
He attempts to use my bloody hands as proof, ignoring the blood on his forehead as Marlon takes the momentary lapse in the 6-year-old's judgment to swipe his gun.
Objection! Objection!
Jaden Smith is not picking a side, until he picks a side after I tell him 6 feet deep is too shallow. Not even that, but even Omar has sided with us, God bless.
Odin is with us!
I have no idea why everyone just sided with us all of a sudden. It's still my word against his, but I am a love interest to like half the students, and they are teenagers. Really didn't expect them to think with the head on their shoulders. Marlon decides to finally admit what he did, a crucial mistake since half the cast had an intimate relationship to the twins, as I take the momentary grief to determine he isn't about that life after all. Swipe his stiffy and make him throw up the soup we fed him, reminiscent of Mr. Krabs unrewatching the movie of the guy in that one episode. Finally, he's disarmed and agrees to join us in figuring out how to deal with this clusterfuck of a situation.
Damn, you hit that nigga so hard to replay 3 different times!
I didn't hesitate.
Just my luck, he blossoms into a crip the moment we needed him to show restraint as AJ really shot a ginger unjustly. I guess orange really is the new black. Speak for yourself. Me and AJ next episode gonna be going for gold. Next episode I come down with a case of I done fucked up, all letters capitalized. AJ is doing the let me be an exceptional son so I don't get beat when mom gets a call from school later routine and performs it masterfully.
I'm surprised you remember how to make it. You put it in hot water.
Oh yeah, it's not as if I'm trying to define the Copenhagen interpretation to a 3rd grader, Clementine.
Am I a murderer?
AJ, you are without a doubt in my soul a murderer. We cut back to after we revealed Marlon's 3rd eye, confirming the Illuminati's existence.
Get medicine from the nurse's office.
What? Jaden Smith is bewildered, saying stuff like this what eating meat does to a motherfucker, and you murdered him. Yeah, you're going to the Yakuza as the first pick in the next gang draft. Violet, for some reason, defends us, although it's probably because that display of urbanness had her thoroughly convinced we are in fact the main characters and wants to join the winning side.
It's time one of us does something this kid doesn't like. Should we expect a bullet too?
That's not what happened.
That's exactly what happened. After being told to calm down after witnessing his best friend's brain matter pour out, we decide to help AJ atone for his miss.
For God's sake, someone help me with this!
Help you with what? The man's dead!
Whatever it was, it got you good.
Mitch tells us to hold our horses before letting him know the only thing he'll be holding is my TCLR subscriber-induced horse cock and to let us through. For some unknown reason, we are invited to the funeral. This can't be good.
Everyone's going to be upset. We need to show them we care, okay?
Got it. Let's go, team. Excellent work, AJ. Hold that pose. Most disliked video, here I... Okay, hold on. Let me get the dog. There we go. Most disliked video, here I come. We show up, and shockingly, it doesn't go over well. We know why Violet sided with us, at least. I mean, after Marlon traded the sisters for less money than SpongeBob was sold to the slave market for.
Bitch.
Say that louder, I didn't hear you. Mitch makes some valid points despite the molding, and now it's AJ's time to shine.
Murderer. But I'm gonna, atone. Yeah, atone it.
Fuck, I can't listen to this.
We absolutely did it, the quickest dislike in YouTube history. Mitch decides to rally the populace to a vote, which we are critical of considering our combined ethnicity is 75% black.
Way to settle this, or we'll be arguing forever.
At your service, my king.
Please don't kick us out.
Us? Nah, you killed him, bro. I'm sending you to Bel Air. Bro starts assaulting the walls, furious that they didn't accept his apology. Violet comes in to tell us the news as AJ seems to be mistaken about due process.
Seriously? That's it? You know this is fucking wrong, and you're not gonna fight it at all?
Actually, I half expected to have a bullet in my head right now. This is an absolute best case scenario. Jaden Smith fails to realize that our Second Amendment right is enshrined in the Constitution, and unless he wants me to recreate Columbine, fucker better brush up on his US history. We also decide to leave that yee-ass drawing for reasons that need no elaboration. Will we get another car? No, probably not ever again. Aw man, my shoes are gonna break again. It's fine, as long as the bonus isn't showing we can still keep going. This is why I love season 4. The writing actually makes sense, finally. Back in season 2, Kenny was supposed to be the bad guy because he was pissed that Jane murdered an infant. But all of this right here makes absolute sense. Violet is pissed her scissor partner was sold into slavery. Jaden despises the fact we killed his BFF. And AJ and me are pissed we're getting kicked out of relative safety after defending ourselves.
This day is gonna come for everybody.
Let's get going. The sun will set soon.
How do you know?
It's setting right now. We have to hide as someone approach. Ain't no fucking way. This man might as well have been fed to the locusts. How the hell are you alive? I come out of nowhere and hit him with the "if dinner isn't ready when I come home" mock punch to the dome, but we have a rifle to the back of our head, so that didn't amount to much. The heroin addict acts like Dylan Brooks now that he's winning, and AJ decides it's best to come out now, instead of before this woman stuck up on me. Mystery woman asks about Marlon, to whom I inform of his Cyclops cosplay gone wrong. I wake up. Hold on. Is this your heroin wife? Looking like she's about one neck scratch away from asking me for $5 for quote-unquote food in a restaurant located at the back of a Walmart. Lily, what happened? Tate might be right. Lose your dad and all semblance of stability just collapses. She might be considered hot if you're fresh out of prison, but that collapse is monumental. She picks me up and deduces Lee is dead before holding a grudge against me because of Lee leaving her on the side of the road after she popped Carly for daring to mention she might need therapy. She tells me to leave AJ assuredly so she can sell him to a Catholic priest for bank, and says she wants to take all of us kids to Delta, who've made Nirvana on Earth with solar panels, non-GMO foods, and other turn-ons that Jaden himself would personally get a boner for. Well, it sounds like a real philanthropic organization. Oh hell no, you just replaced 2010 Subaru and free college with food and water. You won't get me, military. I tell them I ain't no snitch as I see Violet and Jaden aiming, firing, and whiffing as the heroin addict snipes Jaden with the sawed-off from the parking lot somehow. Eventually, I duck weave and bob to a group of walkers which we use to elude our pursuer. I might have not thought this through enough. I take out walker after what? Stop, let me kill the what? No. Why say long word when small word good, I guess. He distracts the walking sacks of meat as we make our way to his base camp where we pluck out the bullets from this bloater from Last of Us looking belly, pinned comment. He stops the bleeding with duct tape. Well, it's still much better medical work than Carlos or Rosie for that matter. Bro is from a group that cosplays as walkers, essentially the furries of this universe, but ones that don't deserve execution. The man shockingly didn't want to be a part of that life and left. He gives me an apple that touched Walker's skin. Food is food, I guess. He removes his mask, forcing me to remind chat that this dude is probably 17 and to stop the flood of emojis. Apparently my child trafficking remark wasn't too far off from before, as they take children and force them to fight their wars for them. They must be scraping the barrel if they need actual children to fight for them. Who could they possibly be up against? It all makes sense now. Yeah, Delta's lost. You're just holding off the inevitable. Pack your bags. It's Jover. The man has a walker fetish and wants me to let them live. You weird as hell, man. Bro's from DC, though, so it makes sense. We make an indomitable plan, which boils down to go back to the school and beg for medicine, which we enact the next day. The dude who's eaten his fair share of bugs this morning fires and... wet like on Brooks. I ask Walker Boner if he wants to stay with us, but...
Not ready.
Jaden comes out as I collapse after carrying the entire story on my back for the last 4 seasons, and we get inside, but it's not looking good for him since no other doctor has showed up, and we have to let Carlos's disciple go to work. I tell him to piss in Fear's ear before leaving to get starting on the digging. Violet ponders my relations with the woman as I tell her Lee and Kenny just awakened their urban powers. Okay. Her dad was not racist. He hated Lee because he was a condemned murderer. There's no way that one comment from season 1 got the whole squad believing Larry was racist. I explain the plan of the Raiders and their war with Javi's group and how they need every man they can get their hands on to stave off Javi's offensive. It's a good thing I'm a veteran of the siege of Richmond though, as I tell her to let me cook and we plan out our defenses. Barbed wires, hold the walls, and set up this school to make Vietnam look like spring break in Cancun. The only problem is the greenhouse, which was overrun and has the barbed wire inside. I was about to elect a search and rescue team until Mitch barges in like Vince McMahon, thinking that the commune actually adheres to democratic decisions. Listen, I'm about one prayer to Lee away from smiting you from this plane of existence. I suggest you get down on your knees and make Rosie feel insecure. He thinks we're part of the Raider. They shot AJ. Why would they do that? No.
Maybe he shot one of their friends.
Oh, that's actually an ironclad defense now that I think about it. We elect to send a search party to get the barbed wire with me, Mitch, and Rosie as I get to Jaden making amends. Also, for some reason at this stage, me and chat were pondering, as you do, about whether Rule 34 is actually true. And one thing led to another, and for some reason I ended up searching if someone was deranged enough to do Clem and Lily. Now, while there were 226 posts about Clementine, that is, somehow, better than I figured, considering there's no Clem and Lily as far as I know. And I'm not about to go through the 226 posts to make sure, because I'm about 99% certain that half of these posts were made in Season 1, and with no bleach near me, for the eyes of course, I'm not about to find out. Shrek tells me this place is overgrown and I can't even see inside. Traversing this is gonna be like eating out a girl who's never heard of a razor before. Rosie's impressed, Mitch knows condensation, Homie's been reading a thesaurus, most impressive. A few more months on that word calendar and maybe you'll be ready for Cat in the Hat. Mitch thinks he's him, but my urban meter is failing to register a pulse. I jump in through a roof, absolutely dwarf-schmeckled at how overgrown that this is. This shit wouldn't get a warning from the HOA. You're telling me you couldn't pick the weeds? I stab the walkers, bring in the NPCs as Mitch realizes me and him is LeBron versus Dylan and gets to work repenting. Rosie, astonished at having all the ingredients that made Snow White take a nap, gets off topic, but we're able to secure the spicy bubble wrap as well as some manure. Mitch wants to use the cow shit to cook up the weapons Saddam was supposed to have before I'm told his instrumental work in collapsing the second tower was what sent him here in the first place. We sneak into a science lab as a splicer from BioShock pinned comment steps up, and after dealing with what appears to be the school nurse, Rosie tells me her lore and how she taught her everything she knows in what is a clear-cut case of medical malpractice. Now, while I'm not intimately familiar with the doctor's code, I am fairly certain that intentionally teaching children the wrong ways of medical practice should be counted as medical malpractice.
We could get medicine from the nurse's office.
After securing all the objects we need for Mitchell Oppenheimer to get cooking, Rosie wants to bury the nurse. Yeah, no one's got the time for that, with even the devs agreeing for me, adding in a fire overlay instead of actually animating it. With the barbed wire, we can funnel Lily's heroin addicts through the door, making an easily defensible position. Not to mention our decisive advantage in the psychedelic of choice, this should be a cakewalk. Jaden brings in some shirts, and after realizing some dandelions doesn't mean they should abandon their greenhouse for easy access to food, they realize they all stopped developing and are stuck with the brain power of 8-year-olds admitting that they need me. I give him the Disco Broccoli t-shirt and we get a 2-week timescape where we turn the school into Fort Knox. It seems this is where the devs realized Telltale was shutting down and decided to get creative with it as a horse comes out of nowhere and I see the light, which brings me back to this plane of existence. AJ, confused about what race he is, continues Slavic squatting and bravely proclaims he's never sleeping again. I'd like to see Freddy Krueger step up now. He shows up, fucker gets to ask Marlon whether he died a virgin. I compliment him as he admits my urbanness is superior. Naturally, Kenny and Lee are dead. Of course, I'm the de facto numero uno. He goes to patrol in the middle of the night. Well, in case the crickets try something, AJ will be ready with the screwdriver he calls a knife.
You must have lost your goddamn mind.
Actually, I'm kinda tired. I'd, kinda rather stay.
He wants to sleep with me, afraid of the monster under his bed, who's been awfully quiet as I call him a bitch for it. Next day I have to deal with my sidekicks arguing as it's been 2 weeks and they still haven't showed up, causing everyone to freak out. I'm certain these posters will be instrumental at stopping the onslaught of slave traders. Might as well go swiper no swiping 3 times when they show up at this point. That honestly might be our best option, since one of our best players is Dylan Brooks, complaining to me about the death of Marlon and how he hasn't taken anything seriously, and how he doesn't even know how he's gonna learn Chinese at this rate after LeBron ended his career. He gets to apologizing because he was in the wrong for being mad we killed his What is this writing? Did the season 2 writers do a cameo?
I forgive you. I understand why you did it.
He gives me the bow and arrow as my mouse and keyboard has me like Robin Hood with the tool. The flagpole is only going to encourage the raiders since we can't come up with anything better than fuck raiders. They're gonna act like they hit the jackpot with mentally retarded children. I get to helping Mitch test his bomb, proving itself as lethal as an attempted rape by a eunuch. I get Rosie's spirits up by telling her the raiders will come with child soldiers, using that goodwill to get a path on spitting on Marlon's grave. Clem is a better person than I. If I was in this situation, I'd be leaving Marlon's grave even more acidic than Margaret Thatcher's.
What are you doing, buddy? What are you pissing?
Back hallway's secure. How is everyone?
I'm not gonna lie, it's not looking good. Case in point, these two genetically deficient morons are arguing which Home Alone trap is more effective. I mean, you might as well draw a picture of a tunnel on the front door and have them crash into it at this point. I tell them to get back to watching Looney Tunes, but the kid who eats bugs prefers Arthur and hits a sim like he was DW. A sim can't catch a break. Man's been bitched by everybody, including a 6-year-old at this point. Jaden takes this as a prime opportunity to rob a sim in poker, considering his horrible lucky streak, and lets us know about a sim's Shrek fetish to shatter his mental. We convince Jaden to have mercy on L's sim and play Truth or Dare instead.
Truth. Marry, fuck, kill.
Bye.
Fine. Marry, flip, kill.
What the hell does flip mean? Are we cannibalizing one of the participants in a human omelet? I'm given a limited amount of options, being forced to marry a sim. Fuck James, who might not even take off the mask. Okay, yeah, fucking Jason wouldn't be that appealing now that you mention it, so I'd probably switch him and Shrek. It's my turn to give a sim a dare as I tell— there's no way.
No.
Man, what is that, bro?
And Jaden just piling on a sim. He has to be a self-insert of one of the writer's bullies or something. Now for this next part, I decided to take the will of the democratic people into account, and this may have been where you saw a weird YouTube poll if you didn't watch the stream. Violet had the greatest comeback of all time.
That's quite big. Impressive.
Until I realized there was one dude who just kept voting since I didn't have any voter ID restrictions or whatever. So I made a YouTube poll instead, and it seems that lesbian porn has went out of fashion, unfortunately.
Ooh, that's kind of small. Yikes.
I have the option to help either Vi or Jaden, and the crack lectorate picked the straight relationship, so I follow him. I help him tune a piano as he tests my blowing skills, which he concludes are up to par. We also do the tree mark thing that the average TCLR subscriber would normally have like this.
Oh, that's a potato?
Bro must be a hallucinating Irishman during the potato famine. How the fuck is that a potato? Anyways, he plays me like a piano, and we cut back to AJ staunchly on guard in case any heroin addicts show up.
I fucking really hate that fucking dickhead shit fuck. Whoa.
Well, after completely failing anatomy class, he declares that one guy is his op and says he's gonna kill him.
On. You won't always be able to tell me no. What did you just say? Nothing.
Well, the Raiders finally decided to show up to flatten our collective ball sacks, with Jaden making a slam dunk of a joke if they were 1 year older, as the others are clobber-dunkled. That the Raiders are here to take us away.
We're gonna make those assholes—
Omar! No! In my moment of shock, the game takes the opportunity to shoot me. It's a good thing this version isn't bugged and I can reload my save, right? Oh. Yeah. Yeah, I spent the last 20 minutes watching MK Ice and Fire's playthrough instead of replaying the 2.5 hours. You want to copyright strike this and take all the money? I don't give a fuck, bro. I am not replaying all that again. As we bring them into the kill zone, I whip out the switch and make the claim that she can't shoot without the perk 30s. A disastrous accusation, even worse than a fake rape call-out, as she's forced to battle me with her wits to counter the claims in front of her boys. She assumes Lee would be upset that I defended a bunch of kids from slave traders and child soldier makers. After reminding her Lee's urbanness is hereditary, she doesn't want to take the chance I was actually Lee's daughter since, well, as you can observe, I'm obviously half black. I still can't believe that's actually canon. Of course, I'm not the type of guy to go ape shit like Oonga Boonga, throwing my computers everywhere, just going up to the writers of whoever made the new Ariel Mermaid film with a MP40 and a trench coat just because the main character is black or anything, but, I mean, there is no way you look at this character and think, yes, this right here is obviously a black woman. I mean, that's gotta be racist. I mean, all you really had to do was like increase the difficulty in the South Park video game. She makes a futile attempt to bring out the others in hiding. No way that'll work.
Where are they?
Hey, pal. You just blowing from stupid to—
The explosion catches them by surprise as Neo momentarily possesses Lily while Mitch decides to yodel while he approaches for the— This is my team? Even Lily is flabbergasted at what no schooling does to a motherfucker. Kids, stay in school or you'll end up like Mitch. That alone will get the world's literacy rate to 100%. We get back inside as the rock trap works somehow and the heroin addict shows up with the Molotov and goes one-on-one with me, which I almost win until I have to stop AJ from uttering the words that would unequivocally get this channel removed due to his skin color, giving the heroin addict the opportunity to take the advantage. Me and him get into it as we get to a scene that suspiciously looks like the one in The Last of Us, except for the fact that this guy is even dumber than I anticipated and starts monologuing, while me and AJ hit him with the Shaq and Kobe. I drop him while he takes me with, "Hey, thanks for breaking my fall, and congrats on that new job at the zoo being the first human pretzel." Lily won't shoot after I give her the puppy dog eyes. With my battle won, let's see how the others are doing. I saved Lewis and Myron, by the way, after taking a Sim, Jaden, and Omar! No!
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
They retreat after snatching the ultimate prize and we're left defeated, vulnerable, venerable, and frankly at less than 2% strength. The only people we have left are a gullible, scarred 10-year-old, a dead retard, a massive cock, a nurse from Wish.com who doesn't even have the picture of what they're advertising, and Mozart's Netflix documentary actor. The only good news is that we have a pretzel-shaped hostage who knows exactly where Lily took the others. And I'll once again shout out to the two people who replayed the third episode after I died again at the end. I genuinely appreciate it, and you saved me big time. Next episode, I attempt to console Willie, who makes the baseless claim that Mitch should pick himself up by his bootstraps and find a way to save everybody. Before or after he DMs the Ops' battle plan. Abel's already had his anal cavity expanded and mental softened up for me, but before I can go, Willie assaults 10 for understandable reasons, giving a correct summation of events as I quickly look to de-escalate. Else 10 logs off the server for getting bullied by a dude named Willie. I arrive downstairs and pet Rosie as AJ's just sitting there, menacingly. The Kenshi character creator Gone Wild tries to convince me someone loved his two-eyed receded hairline ass enough to make his snake cry tears and asks for water. Oh yeah, for sure, buddy. AJ, I will not have the Geneva Conventions respected in this household. Now put that water away, young man. He believes Lily is the one for him. My guy. She's already getting her innards rearranged by Tyrone.
I'm Tyrone. And fuck getting a number, I'm trying to fuck somebody's wife. Long
Hey, buddy!
What the dog doing?
He relents, admitting they're locked in a bloody struggle to the death with people who would make him look like a saint. It's definitely Javi's group. I continuously abuse his rights, but despite that, he still asks me to reach into his front pocket, and I do, admiring his resolve, and am shocked it wasn't his penis, but he makes me light his Bible cigarette, thinking he still has the power in this relationship, so I burn his face to get my point across. AJ concludes he's finished and he gives up the tough guy act, promising he'll tell me the whereabouts of Lily if I make sure he doesn't turn, to which I oblige. He then continues making 6ix9ine look like a reliable partner in crime, saying they're role-playing Blackbeard's fantasy on the river. Great. Aw man, I'd love to help you out, but it's against my religion to touch heroin, and we do live in the US of A, of course, freedom of religion and all that. I stay and observe as he obtains the shiny version of the Renegon or something, making sure AJ understands how to properly treat prisoners of war and leave.
Come on, we have a boat to find.
We conduct some scouting operations, locating Violet, but there's no cover. If we try to storm the ship, our mortality rate will make the Battle of the Somme look like a LARP event. We deduce the best plan is to burn the hay, causing a distraction, forcing the ops to jack off the horses to calm them down. And with the average horsecock approaching the length of the average TCLR subscribers, they will need 4 to 5 people to ensure maximum efficiency, giving us the golden opportunity to steal their supplies and get James to enlist some walkers for our cause, to which we'll use as human shields and invade the ship of the line. Willie comes up with a brilliant point, but he's stopped because the game has no answer to that and probably just wants to ignore it. Not even kidding, they never bring up that point again. I sneak up to the devil worshipper, forcing her to drop her axe, the weapon of choice for the average urban, as it turns out she's Vi from League of Legends. There is no way she's Ten's brother. No, there's no way she's canonically black. I know that Me and her get into a spat as she makes the baseless observation of my shittiness as a leader. My best weapon was a yodeler stuck in middle school. What do you want me to do? She says I ruined their enslavement play. Aw, man, I'm really sorry I did that. Gosh darn it. God damn it, Lincoln, you ruined everything. Jinx from League of Legends died as Minerva is now thoroughly indoctrinated into the cult. Lily comes around, invite us and call us out as she gives key intel, begging us not to use it to fight back. I tell them to go back home, and Willie is this close to unleashing Samurai Huey and showing once and for all that orange really is the new black. AJ briefs me on the color he sees being red, but admits that 10 is pretty retarded as we agree the entire school needs help as we reluctantly conclude we have to take on the monumental task of teaching these kids up to the level of reading Cat in the Hat. Finally, he says I'm not his real friend because I'm old at the tender age of 17. We get to the camp as James shows up and makes the plea to help him get his mask back and to not kill the walkers since he thinks they're people.
Didn't even try to spare them.
Yep. After that, I ask him for some sacrificial walkers I can use to sneak on the ship. I might as well have asked the Jews for help in evacuating Hitler to Argentina. There's no way that would work. He agrees but wants me to see something first.
Clem, what's this? It's called a salt lick. Whatever you do, don't lick it. It tastes horrible.
Wait a minute, how do you know? Did you lick it?
That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about.
I don't know.
He shows me his collection and implores me to walk in there and play a wind chime. You can't be serious. Unfortunately, I'm forced into it as AJ reminds me to keep breathing, which may prove difficult considering fresh air was a foreign concept when he crafted this headpiece. I get started on my next Subnautica playthrough and move in.
Swing first, nigga, let's go! Swing first, nigga, swing first!
I hit the wind chime, beginning a beautiful scene that the writers probably thought was big brain, but they did a better job making Jane seem in the right back in the end of season 2. Beats a banger though. I escape the scene and cough my lungs out, which are too contaminated by the washless mask to be of any further use. He inquires as to whether I think they're still just monsters. No, of course they're not. Thank you. You finally opened my eyes to the truth. Now help me send your not monsters to the slaughter, pretty please. He doesn't think he can. What are you, the little engine that could? I resort to telling him Omar's life is at stake, quickly ditching all his morals and preconceived notions, getting him on board as he unloads his entire arsenal of weapons, foregoing his ideology to save the legend, the most TCLR subscriberist of them all. I mean, I can't blame him. I don't think anyone can. Also,
when you said there might be people inside walkers, did you mean it?
hell no, that dude's crazy. We get back as Rosie says she wants to play Hogwarts Legacy, pinned comment. AJ is tasked with making a Decker. Okay, well, Cat in the Hat might be too difficult. Let's focus on the little caterpillar. AJ believes himself to be of superior intellect because he's thinking all the time. I make preparations for seppuku after realizing I've raised a philosophy major. He's thinking and afraid I'll get bit and turn into a monster, and looking at the season 4 cover. Yeah, I'm getting bit. There's no way. I tell him he better bash my head in, talking like Churchill's I'll fight him in the beaches, I'll fight him in the streets speech, but he says he'll get bit too and we can stay together forever. He wants to take his mind off things, so he goes on patrol, much to Jaden's dismay. Jaden asks why I saved him instead of Violet. Live chat is sexist. That's about the best explanation I can come up with. He's facing survivorship bias and doesn't feel like he deserved to get chosen, but that doesn't matter. It's time for the beach episode. Now, E. coli infection notwithstanding, good job, AJ. We play around a little bit before getting a wholesome moment before mother and son. The party is coming together as I pick green, AJ learns what a leprechaun is, and we get the machine Beethoven used to create Symphony 69 to play music. I don't see Kendrick Lamar as an option, as I resign myself to 20 minutes of mid. Also, I'm told to go check Willie, whose hair color evaded me for some reason prior, as I realize he's a fully fledged member of the IRA now. This evolution gave him an excellent idea on destroying the Raiders' ship, as he feels sorry for talking bad about 10. Honestly, I think he's just scared of AJ, if I'm being honest. The party is an absolute banger, a humdug, if you will, as Willie's skills can only confirm yet another biracial character, as this fine contraption can only have been created by a descendant of equal parts Arab and Irish. Rosie pulls out the psych reports as I get to figure out why everybody got drafted to this school in the first place. As an example, Rosie was walking around throwing slurs, assaulting teachers with barbecue forks. Very angry and aggressive stuff, looks like. I assume Willie must have done something at least on that same level.
Dude, no.
Chronic masturbation.
How chronic does it have to be for your parents to go, nope, nope, no hope for him, we're sending him to Alcatraz? Like, was he open carrying his 2-incher during Easter service every year or something? Bro's giving off the same energy of,
I'm a weirdo? Why do I have a picture of his asshole if I'm a weirdo?
no way, he thought that was a good response.
What does that mean? Don't you dare.
Good call. Don't want AJ to check off over the next corpse he creates.
Guy. And Theresa and Jasper, that one girl with colored braces, and Joey, Maddie, Lamar.
So what was Marlon doing? Talking about I have to save them no matter what. Decisions have to be made. That's why I killed Brody and sold off the others to slavery. He couldn't even do that. He was just running around not doing shit. Jaden tells us about his story, which is insane. Trigger warning for anyone who hasn't jacked off in the last 24 hours unless you want an albino golden shower. His parents were excessively rich and gave him everything, except singing lessons, and ironically, it wasn't because it was a girly hobby and my son will grow up cutting down trees and abusing his wife after spending their savings on the pub, but because of his philosophy. You can either be rich or happy. Well, your dad obviously failed to discover the benefits of becoming a TCLR subscriber. The perks of being a TCLR subscriber are vast, as we know more about the deep ocean than we do about the total benefits of an average TCLR subscriber. But our brave troops discovered another one recently, being the ability to become both rich and happy at the same time. The second you subscribe, you will receive access to the Midas Touch while also having the knowledge of camaraderie amongst the other TCLR subscribers, immediately giving you a peace of mind not known to many, and you also, more importantly, don't miss out on future content. Jaden decided to make a prank video on his dad and spent money on hotels and flowers and went to his mom and said, well, that looks like very interesting material. I'm sure he's just practicing his flower salesmanship skills in a burgeoning career of snake oil salesmanship on the hotel staff, right, Mom? After they finalized the divorce, he came in like, cameras over there, before his dad told him boarding school's right over there and sent him to the American equivalent of Siberia. Finally, he plays Marvin's Room on the piano as we mentally prepare for the job. Nah, why the fuck Clem look like the Yandere simulator guy? They did her dirty here.
What the fuck did they do? Who the fuck is this?
Can't believe it's not Lee. Wonders why I always pick the train as he gives me a pep talk, as unlike the last couple of seasons, I don't have Javi, Kenny, Jane, Lee, Carly, Luke, or Kate. He says he was making it up as he went, who are you lying to, Lee? Your powers of clairvoyance were beyond our comprehension as you picked the obvious option every time. After he gives me a pep talk that Optimus Prime himself would take notes from, I'm ready as we get another illusion to Turnabout Ranch. I wish he was here, but he tells me the creators didn't include recruit difficulty in this game.
How's the boy?
He's good, Lee. You'd like him.
I bet. You teach him to shoot yet?
You have no idea. He'd be so proud.
You mean more than I already am? Wow. Just look at you. Just look at you.
I know I told you I'd always keep moving, Lee. But I'm tired of running. I have a home now.
Then you're off the hook. A home is better than I could have ever hoped for. Time to go, Clementine. You've got people that need you.
Goodbye, Lee.
Next morning, AJ wakes me up and says the group needs 90% of their power to help them succeed in the extraction job, since him and his 9% won't be enough. We get to the starting location as James shows up in the mask, giving off the same energy I did in middle school when I showed up in a sweater in 40-degree heat. The others are surprisingly enamored by this, as 10 definitely ships us. Well, it's too bad he's gay now, isn't it? Rule 34 users are in shambles right now. We get his backstory, which I honestly do not care about, his Oppenheimer I am become death moment. He's very sorry he's murdered someone who said genocide isn't based, which, understandable why he decided to kill him, but he ends up beating himself over it. AJ left him cobbler-cotted that he already caught his first body at the age of 6 and begs me to not let him take another, else it'll break him. The walkers come as the kids will deal with the supplies, and me and Jaden are going to make the Boston bombing look like a fireworks display. Martin Luther King tells me to tell Vi he forgives her for ulting Jinx. Jaden is afraid I'll die, so I decide to make everyone watching this as uncomfortable as AJ, who's wondering if Jaden's still vegan after swallowing my entire tongue. We cover ourselves in slop before taking a quick bite to keep our blood glucose levels up. I take a play out of the Ayatollah playbook and hostage my way through as the others set the hay on fire before the chronic masturbator decides to rub one out on the supplies, marking them before stealing them for himself. Stereotypical black guy 1 almost steps up. Holy shit, this dude's big as fuck. What are you doing here? LeBron needs your ass. Get to San Francisco. After we sneak through, Telltale keeps things fresh by turning this into a 3D platformer and get to the front door, and as we get inside, we try to find the boiler. Clem is a Warriors fan, so no help for LeBron this year as we get inside and throw in the bomb as we have T-minus 30 minutes until the Lusitania saga gets remastered. Vi gets chewed out for feeding and jungle diff, giving her a chip on her shoulder as I tell her 10 forgives you. She says she'll help me. Omar! Finally! Quickly, get this man to safety! She ends up betraying her word and locks me in. I wake up to Violet, who found out I listen to mainstream music and decides closing me off is the appropriate response. They locked everybody in as I let them know the news that Vi will not be assisting us in this endeavor. A sim tells me Lily reminds him of the Resident Evil mommy, and he proceeded to shit and ejaculate his pants when she showed up, but that doesn't matter. We have to get Omar to safety. AJ still has that screwdriver and slides it to me, but I almost get caught while breaking out. Lily arrives and asks me where her brother and heroin is, and AJ tells her we fed him crack while watching him turn.
Fuck, you little monster.
She comes in and says my urbaness is approaching the levels of Lee. Astonished, I turned the special ed class into a functional school rec team. Something Napoleon himself wouldn't be able to accomplish. Now, child soldiers, I don't give a fuck. You're gonna need everything to stop Avi, I'll be real with you, but I will not join you heroin addicts and portray the superior psychedelic. She tells me how she got those scars and how Larry ran a gulag operation whenever they forgot to turn off the lights. I tell her I'm still smoking that Larry pack on gang, no cap, before she begins regaling me about the story of the twins. It's about Vi and her sister. One decided to embrace her child soldiering and fully saluted at a 60-degree angle, while the other decided that gas chambers might be a little too much before she got executed on the spot by her own sister. Jaden chews out Vi for being a Mighty Morphin meat rider and gets pinned, but just before his fingers chopped off for daring to value human life. AJ comes out of nowhere as Mike Tyson gave her the Thorfinn makeover. Lily, however, is impressed at a fellow Geneva suggestioner before another badass scene.
Big talk for a little guy.
I know I can do it. I killed Marlon. He wasn't a monster, but you are.
Dang.
She's impressed at AJ's human rights violation and takes him away to be indoctrinated in her Hitler youth. Vi is left to watch us, and as Jaden distracts her, I try getting out until Violet tries defending her scissor partner, which ends up working out even better for me and somehow has me on my back. Come on, Clem, you're dishonoring the Lee name. Jaden catches his first buddy, putting a crossbow right through her mouth. Holy, look at that orifice. It fit the entire Coca-Cola can down that. And with everyone enamored at the absolute deep-throating capabilities of that mouth, Clem takes the opportunity to redeem the Lee family name. Shut up, Jaden. We have rescued Omar. That is all that matters. Violet does not want to leave, still thinking she can fix her. Just a quick note. If you let Jaden get captured, he'll have his tongue ripped out and still be happy to see you, by the way. Superior romantic option, in my opinion. I go up to rescue AJ, not sure why Omar's safety still isn't secured. I would assume that would take priority. I find them to have captured 10 and James, who stands up for himself against what's supposed to be Resident Evil levels of mommy, but 10 somehow takes a gun and says he'll do it. No, he won't. AJ is the face I had with secondhand embarrassment. Bro's a shooter on Twitter at best. Lily does the right thing and executes the weakling. No! AJ comes out, hits her with bite, flinches her as James takes on the other.
Where did Triple H come from? Damn Triple H! Damn his soul!
Lily would 100% unequivocally whip my ass. She was part of Lee's harem, of course. I'd expect nothing less from being chosen by the Sultan himself, but with AJ stabbing her in the leg, I have an opportunity to unleash Tara Newton's worth of pain. Forcing her off as AJ picks up the tool. Now you see the difference between Lily here and when 10 had a gun right to her head. She understands that 10 is at best Twitter fingers, not trigger fingers. AJ over here, though, you could tell the defecation unleashed in her pants is of mighty caliber.
Dang.
Not 3, not 4, not 5.
By the way, she would have killed James if I told AJ not to shoot. I don't want to hear anyone defending her in the comments. And she also killed Carly. You're telling me she and her mouse and keyboard levels of aim wouldn't have helped Lee stay alive in season 1? The bomb explodes, which ends off episode 3 Broken Toys. Oh man, I'm almost done with episode 4. I surely hope that a bullet will come out of nowhere and coupled with my game not saving send me back to... Anyway, this is the first epic game I've ever bought in my life. I wake up flabbergasted I'm still alive and wait a minute. That's 9 bullet holes AJ shot 8 times. No. Jump in, Clem, save the hat! AJ is hanging off as I convince him to Man, could you imagine if I just, didn't press Q here? What if I just drop him? What's realistically gonna happen to me? Continuing my call of the void, I tell an 8-year-old to jump the boat as this Viking ship almost made like Harold Hardrada's fleet when the Anglo-Saxons ran his fade. I shimmy my way through to AJ as this bald fuck stole my property, emptying the clip, giving me the opportunity to stab him. And as we're fighting, AJ deletes any potential for a continuation of his bloodline before I end said line right then and there. We narrowly avoid the Titanic collapsing on top of us, with Jaden saving us with a giant rock. Violet is still alive, saving her. Oh no. Get ready to learn Braille, buddy. The remnants of our ops are still holding out. Omar! Yes! Mission accomplished. Everyone Surg rush the ops so we can let the pinnacle of human evolution escape. The others have the horse and the cart set up, but the concept art for Jane notices, and knowing this man makes Dylan Brooks look like Curry, I quickly intervene, letting her know once and for all I'm a Kenny enjoyer. Eventually, Vi's team wipes and she's left to go 1v5. Her marksmanship is immaculate. I have expected her to start hitting never-before-seen twirl the gun, spin around 5 times before doing a front flip and use the clit to pull the trigger, headshotting 5 walkers in a row trick shots. She thinks she's him and suffers for it as she'll be left with a peg arm for yeah, never mind, she's a goner. Holy shit, they removed her buccal gland, I can't find it. With all else failing, she tries throwing a grenade, but I quickly show her why the PC is a superior gaming option. Unfortunately, the blast scares the horses off, but with Omar in the back, we can die happy knowing that our job is accomplished. My knife is missing, which is just great as I have to forego homicide for more ethical escapist methods. There it is, you little shit. We end up reluctantly taking this looter with us, making our way to a dual-wielding spellcaster from Elden Ring, escaping into the cave.
I saw the bloodlust in them.
Alright, Gandhi, tell me about it after we escape these ravenous Reddit moderators. I made a torch, finding a tunnel on the other side that we use a log to traverse. After that, we're faced with some sort of riddle from Uncharted, but just as my 3 brain cells get to cooking...
Meeny, miny, here goes.
James comes in. Hold on, is this clipping? In my Telltale game, literally unplayable. The man thinks the best way to save AJ is to kidnap him and force him to follow against his... You can see how that's worse, right? Well, I guess that's a solid strategy if you want to disable elementary schools as an option for the places you're allowed into. Oh, come on, AJ, I know that he took you, but you really want to bite that?
You did this!
The fuck type of gaslighting is this? Are we back in season 2?
Sway, you had him empty an entire clip into that woman's head!
It was only half a clip.
Okay. AJ, grammatical correctness is not the problem at hand here. I tell him to take that guilt and put it where his boyfriend previously owned, getting him mad enough to put Arthur on the screen for a second time this episode to conceal what he's about to do to Clementine.
I liked it.
They grow up so fast.
I liked killing her.
With me and James arguing on the efficacy of genocide while AJ tells us how he got these scars, he gets James and Clem on the same side as Clem spoils all the fun. He's not having it, but makes the critical mistake of leaving his family jewels exposed to AJ, which would normally disqualify him from a sequel generation if it wasn't for the fact he beats it to James Charles videos. He goes on a monologue about...
All you know is violence, death!
My guy, you think that walkers deserve to live? That's insane. At least I could see the argument vegans make. I mean, I'm not condoning what they do, of course. I'll take mine medium rare, thank you. This is like saying serial rapists or murderers don't deserve the chair. Or even worse, furries don't deserve the chair. Eventually he gives up, saying the next time we need to use someone like a tampon, go find someone else. Now, after my chat completely fumbled the last 30 big decisions they told me to trust them on, this one is the one they said you really need to do, and to essentially let AJ cook. I see no problem with that. AJ, you have proved yourself. Kill whoever you want. We find the remains of James skinning a walker, so that's honestly a collectible I can do without. We get outside and learn that a sim voted for us to stay, meaning Omar and Ruby told us to leave. Well, it's not too late. Let's go, AJ. Omar has spoken. Jaden came back for us for some reason. Assuredly, he won't say something stupid in the next few minutes.
It was white, like my house.
You lived in a White House?
Yup.
But not the White House, right?
Bro, are you that stupid? At the bridge, we reach a dead end. Hold on, is that boss music? Ten makes a remarkable observation, really hawk-eyed with that one as she tries convincing him to join her on the other side. And Sauron somehow sends in the orcs after. How does that even work? I am genuinely confused at how she sent them after us. My Robin Hooding with the Blake key does damage until she teleports on top of me and presses R. We end up duking it out, she splits my boot open, but I'm too quick on the draw. Oh, now you want to go after. Who let Skybound cook? 10 thinks he can still save her somehow. She'll just be walking around without legs, arms, a face. Probably have to chop the head off, honestly. Gil have her looking like Baxter Stockman after his 5th failure with the Hun. And Jaden thinks he can still save him. I ain't saving nobody. I've got to make sure Omar made it. AJ decides to just cut the weakest link, though, as Lewis finally jumps and understandably goes off on AJ. Although we're able to convince him it's natural selection and how he lighted the Mitch pack a few episodes ago. Lewis hits the fence with the Latino maneuver, but even with the apocalypse, the US border guards are on standby as we're separated. I throw up AJ and barely slither my way up. AJ saves me with the gun, but as we get... Oh no.
Whatever it was, it got you good.
We make our way through evading the walkers as Clem is already beat. Really puts into perspective the absolute urbanness Lee displayed, going a whole episode with a bite, not allowing it to overtake him until he was done. The man literally told Death, hold on, I still got work to do. We've proven 2 things today. Number 1, Carlos is absolutely retarded, and number 2, Lee is most definitely a pinnacle TCLR subscriber. And pretty much just replay episode 5 of season 1, teaching AJ the proper technique for a phalanx formation as he tells me to let him cook, and cook he did. Fucker put on a performance for the ages, one that would make Gordon Ramsay bust an absolute nut. Bro thinks Clem and her jaundice along with pale skin, making her look whiter than she already does, can climb anything. It's Jover.
I need to make sure you remember. Remember what? The rules. What's number 1?
Secure the keys?
Never go alone.
Got any more ammo?
There isn't any more.
Okay then.
After a long 4 seasons of excellence, carrying season 2 on her back single-handedly until Avi could come help, everything comes back full circle with Lily's words proven right. AJ executes me. Now, could you imagine he slipped and missed, just ended up cutting my buccal gland out? And after forcing him to do something traumatizing, we say our goodbyes and... Clem wakes up in the astral plane Lee willed his soul to after dying, evidently putting off death somehow as she gets ready to stop Napoleon at Waterloo, getting to a castle gate on fire. Well, I guess that's where that fantastical dream earlier came from. Oh god, she still has that yee-ass haircut. This has to be Turnabout Ranch. RoboCop's origin story won't be happening on my watch today. Telltale doesn't own the copyright as I make it through to... Oh god, it's him! Quickly, is weed sticky?
It's not even fucking sticky.
No!
Won't let me what? Oh, well, turns out she was caring for AJ. A conversation would have settled that and probably let her keep her life, honestly. I may have spoken too soon, as it seems like she slathered AJ in jam to attract EDP or something, as I grab him, steal a car, and make my way out and into a Charmin Ultra Soft commercial.
Charmin Ultra Soft is made with extra cushions that are soft and more absorbent. Plus, you can use 4 times less versus the leading value brand.
My haircut is unshockingly scaring him. He eventually figures out it is actually me, Clem, and we leave Turnabout Ranch and Dr. Phil's nefarious grasps. We come back to the present as AJ stars in the new Croods movie, finding Clem sat somehow, and Rosie comes out and saves it. 10 also shows up. I can recognize that tumorous leech from anywhere as I put him out of his misery, ending off his character's arc on teaching us about natural selection and the 4th season's absolutely brain-dead character. The Sim finally gets his BBW. Omar is opening his new kebab stand right beside the main attraction of our camp, a torture of a prisoner of war that would make the CIA tell us to take it down a notch. I make my way to Willie to learn from the master on how to beat my schmeat.
What you doing there, goofball?
I lived, bitch. I give the hat I found back to Captain Crunch, but she says I can keep it as she unveils the new tire swing for me. Finally, we get back to our brethren for some supper. Violet is still blind as a bat, I see. I'm tasked with helping Jaden complete his... What the hell is this? I don't want it. Give me back the other dialogue options. Do they think they could save the studio if they just had this at the end of the game? Like, people would look at it like, whoa, that's next level shit. And just because of that, make it like the new Elden Ring, win Game of the Year, get Telltale billions of dollars, allowing them to continue operations. I have no idea why they just switched that for AJ, honestly. I get one last sit down with Clem where we reminisce on everything that has transpired as she asks if she did a good job. Of course you did, Clem. The bestest job in the whole world. Not with actually teaching, AJ Doe. The grammar, honestly, it might be a little lacking for the friendly caterpillar. Probably just gonna have to stick to picture books from now on. And with those 2 character arcs coming to an end, I walk into... Okay, technically true now, I guess. But I liked it better when she said that after making a mockery out of the cabin group in season 2.
Have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down.
The first mockery, to be exact. Ensuring Rosie views me as above the age of a toddler, I put the hat on the nightstand, ending off season 4. I spent days crafting this meticulous script, just like how they did with Clem's character arc these last 4 seasons. Honestly, absolutely sensational. Season 2 was pretty darn awful, but it was still probably my second favorite just because I liked it, personally. I do a tier list about all the seasons next week, maybe even all the episodes, who fucking knows. Depends on if I can get the next GTA game out in time, which, looking at my past videos, probably gonna have to wait about a half a year for that one. But with Clem's character arc coming to not necessarily a close, as apparently they even made a book continuing her struggle. Let's check it out.
This is bad.
Yeah, no joke at all. I am saying this with 100% accuracy, a straight face, no joke whatsoever. I'm not even joking, I'm serious. I'd rather recommend Cuties over this. Seriously though, I would recommend my other videos over the both of them. Not a hard bar to cross, I know, but just check them out. And as always, leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.